Today on the pod, my guest is Lucas High School student athlete Riley Gossom. Riley talks about his love and appreciation for basketball, how lucky he is to be able to still play, and how he wants his teammates and coaches to remember him. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Bases Loaded podcast. I'm your host, Gabe Kennedy, and today my guest is Riley Gossom. Riley, how's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. Doing fantastic. So how old are you and what are you involved with there at Lucas High School?
I'm 18 and I'm currently a senior at Lucas High School, and pretty much all the activities involve sports, so basketball and baseball.
Good deal. What has obviously school has been really messed up for pretty much everybody starting last spring. What's going on there at Lucas High School as far as the school schedule?
Everything's normal for the most part. We're in school 5 days a week, in-person classes. Every once in a while we're online or whatever if there's an event or something, but I take all my stuff online through the college, so I'm pretty much just at home every day and kind of doing my own thing.
So do you enjoy that, or do you kind of miss that messing with your buddies in the hallway and stuff, or are you texting them throughout the day? Well, I mean, you don't have that anymore, right?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of both. I like the online because I'm at home every day. I can kind of make my own schedule and do my work kind of as needed. As far as my friends and stuff, my closest friends aren't even at the high school. Most of them are either at Pioneer or over at the Kehoe Center in Shelby taking college classes. So they're not even at the high school to begin with. So for me, it's not that big of a deal. And being at home is I actually hang out and see them more now at home than when I would if I was at school. So kind of works out.
Good deal. Good deal. So for you, obviously, you mentioned how sports have been such a huge impact on your life. Who are some people that stick out in your mind that have made a big impact so far?
Definitely just my family in general. Mostly my parents taking me all the camps and events for AAU and stuff over the years, and just paying for all that. Making the time to get me there and everything. And then definitely my dad too. I mean, he's definitely been one of my main coaches throughout basketball and just kind of everything in general. And so without them, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am today.
Is that something did you feel pressure growing up, being around sports? Obviously, you love sports, but you see your parents spending so much time and money into something that you love. It was like, holy cow, man! I need to really make it worth their while and bust my butt and get better every day.
Uh, yeah, sort of. I mean, I'm really hard on myself. I'll be the first to tell you. Nobody's harder on me than I am. Whether it's a bad game, play, whatever it is. I'm the first person to kind of take blame and ownership for it, and kind of make sure that doesn't happen again. And so I put a lot of pressure on myself, probably more than anybody else. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing as far as that. And when it comes to my family, they've kind of done all that because I enjoy it, and that's just kind of always been a part of my life. And so there's a little bit of pressure to it, but after a while it just becomes a game, and it's just basketball. So
Good deal. I mentioned this to you on our phone call the other day. You were on my radar for a while, and then all of a sudden I see on social media, all these people saying, pray for Riley and all this stuff. I'm like, what in the heck happened to this kid? Explain a little bit what happened.
So it was just kind of normal weekday. I went in and was lifting or whatever. Season was supposed to start, I think, 3 or 4 days. In 3 or 4 days at that point, and so I was kind of getting ready for that. We had open gyms and stuff, and so I was just kind of doing my thing. And I was coming home from lifting, and a guy tried passing a semi on a double yellow line and hit me head on coming over a hill, and it didn't didn't really end well, that's for sure. Unfortunately, he didn't make it or anything. So I'm just kind of thankful to still be here.
So what injuries did you have from that accident?
I broke my fibula in 2 places, and I broke my tibia in one spot. It ended up being a compound fracture. So my tibia came through the skin and kind of had my whole ankle and lower half of my leg kind of all thrown off. I also had a collapsed lung and breathing tubes in and stuff in the hospital. So I was kind of a whole couple different things.
So did the reality set in for you that, you may not be able to play sports again, or was it something where you're kind of just in shock, taking each day at a time?
Definitely just taking it one day at a time. When everything happened and it was going on, I wasn't really aware, really conscious of anything that was happening. And so once I got to the hospital and out of surgery and everything and actually woke up, that was kind of when I first kind of heard about everything. And, the first thing out of my mouth was, when can I play again? And, the doctor surgeon said that, everything wasn't good, looking at minimum of 3 to 5 months before I could even potentially play again. And there's still a bunch of what ifs as far as nerve damage and all that kind of stuff because of how bad and traumatizing everything was. But it's just definitely taking it one day at a time. And as the months have gone on, I've kind of started to heal better and better. And so, I'm just blessed to be able to get to play the sport I love again at some point.
So is it something that you kind of appreciate the small stuff? Most kids cannot stand practice, no matter what, no, whatever sport it is, they love it. Usually the practice is just grueling and can't wait for this to be over. I want the games. Did you appreciate going to practice? You mentioned, I believe you said that you only missed one. What was your mindset going to practice every day, cheering on your teammates?
Uh, yeah, as far as appreciating it, yeah, I definitely appreciate it more now. You have those long practices and workouts where you're like, man, can't wait to get home and just relax. And I'm kind of not really feeling it today. And now it's one of those things where it's like, man, like I really want to be out there. Even practice. Like I wish I was out there running with them or doing push-ups or doing this drill or whatever. Even though I don't really like it. It's definitely being miserable at practice, doing the thing you love is better than having to sit there and watch everybody else.
Do you think that your teammates fed off of you as far as like seeing you showing up in practice? Here's a kid who's got every excuse not to go, and the going gets tough for them. Do you think that they kind of stepped up their level a little bit?
Um, I'd say for the most part, yeah. They kind of still expect me to be there. Not once did I ever, say, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, or I don't know what's going to happen. I've always kind of, since everything happened, I was planning on being there and being around them. And, once I started showing up every day, I think they kind of realized like, this is still, I'm still part of the team. And, kind of took us a few scrimmages and games to get going. After the first game, every new team, everybody's young, trying to figure out how to play with each other. And after that first game, a lot of people stepped up. All the younger kids improved and got a lot better. The seniors, both Ethans, stepped into their roles very nicely after that. And so I think that's kind of where our success has come from this year, is just everybody stepping up and playing their role and filling that void that we need.
Yeah, absolutely. So for you, you recently played a little bit in a game. Was that how difficult was that for your body as far as like conditioning and obviously your leg? I'm sure mentally you're all over the place. But how tough was that?
Actually, it wasn't that bad. The toughest part for me was just kind of going out there and not doing anything to re-injure myself. But as far as mindset, I was waiting for that for who knows how long. Since everything happened, that was kind of my goal. Was even if I can't play, at least senior night, just get in one last time. And so as far as the pain, I had so much adrenaline going with everything that I didn't feel much during. It was after I sat down and kind of went out and I had to get up and walk again, I felt it a lot more. But as I was running up and down there, the only things I could really think of was just like, man, it feels so great to be out here again. I've missed this. This is why I love this sport. And it's one of those things that like it didn't feel real. Like after everything that went on with how COVID ended our season last year, and then everything in the summer, not having summer stuff, and then everything with my accident, it didn't feel real to even be out there. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to go out there one last time.
Yeah, it was almost like, Riley, you're not supposed to play high school basketball again. You have all these things like thrown at you, but what about did you have a noticeable limp a little bit? Obviously, when you're walking or even running, did you notice like, wow, dude, I can really feel this?
uh, when I walk, I don't have a limp anymore. But when I was definitely, I wasn't even running. I was just jogging up and down the court that game, and yeah, it's not good. And like my hip isn't strong enough to support my leg or anything, and so it looks like I'm limping. Which I mean, I am, but like it's not intentionally. It just kind of happens because of how weak my leg is and everything. But yeah, it's definitely something that I've never really like thought about before. Like you don't think when you're running and stuff, your hip plays a big part in that. And once you kind of lose all that strength, it helps you kind of realize everything and puts everything into perspective.
Absolutely. So college plans. You decided on Heidelberg. Explain a little bit about that process and why you chose Heidelberg.
Oh man. So they were the first would actually reach out to me. They kind of got a hold of me summer going into my junior year, and kind of said that they were interested and I was going to be kind of on their radar throughout last year and then especially this year as a senior. And so then they came to my regional game last year in Canton. And so I think from that point, they were always kind of at the top of my list because they're the first school to reach out to me. They came and watched me play. That means a lot. And then kind of over the summer, I had a bunch of other colleges reaching out to me, asking me to come on visits and stuff. And so I kind of took all my visits, and I think I went on 8 or 9, and kind of was feeling everything out. And at the end of the day, Heidelberg just felt like the right place as far as academics, athletics, just everything. It's one of those things where you step on campus and just it feels right. It feels like you're supposed to be there.
Absolutely. So obviously everybody's different. But what advice would you give to kids that are looking to, choose a college to go play sports? What would you tell them?
Just go where you feel comfortable. Don't let anyone tell you what you can and can't do, as far as or what you want or where you should go. At the end of the day, it's your decision. You want to go somewhere that you're going to be comfortable because you're spending the next 4 years of your life there. Especially as far as campus life, academics, athletics, just everything. You can't only like one thing about it. You got to kind of like everything. It's just gotta feel like the right place.
So let's fast forward a little bit. In 10 or 15 years from now, how do you want your teammates, your coaches to remember you? What would you think and hope that they would say about Riley Gossom?
Um, Definitely. I'd say the biggest thing for me is, all of them. I want all of them to, think that I'm a winner and I'm a competitor, and at the end of the day, I'll do anything, whatever it takes to, win and help the team out. I would say as far as everything else outside of sports, when it comes to like the younger generation and all that, just kind of being a role model and someone that they can look up to or even model their game after when they get older. But yeah, I'd say the biggest thing for me is I'm a competitor and I want to win, and I just want everyone to remember me as someone that would sacrifice anything and everything to get a win and do anything for his teammates.
So dinner with three people. Who are you sitting with at that dinner table? What three other people?
Oh, definitely Kobe and MJ for sure. Those are my two favorite players all time. And I'd say for the third one, if I had to throw anybody in there, I would say probably LeBron just because of how great he is. I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but as great as he is at what he does, I'd definitely probably throw him in there just because that'd be one heck of a conversation to get to learn from three of the greatest to ever do it. There'd be nothing better than that. I'm always trying to find ways that I can improve my game mentally and physically, and so that would definitely be the ideal dinner for me.
So would you be asking any questions there, or would you just be taking it all in, or would you just be like, "Hey guys, let's just watch like highlights of you, highlights of those guys
Oh
playing
God.
basketball"?
I don't think I'd with Kobe and MJ. I don't think I'd be able to ask too many questions because they probably I think I'm crazy for some of the stuff I'd ask. Because they have their mentality and everything is just they don't care about anything else or anybody or what anybody says. And so I'd say just for asking them questions, I probably wouldn't be looked at as mentally prepared in their eyes. But that would definitely be an interesting dinner for sure.
Absolutely. What would be your go-to social media? If you could only have one social media for the rest of your life, what social media would you choose and why?
Probably Twitter. I don't spend that much time on Twitter now. Um, I pretty much spend most of my time on either YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or something like that. But I'd say Twitter just because I see more I see like the way the timeline works, I see more from everybody else and stuff going on around me a lot more. And I pretty much only have Twitter just for sports and kind of, stuff like that. And so I would say definitely just for that reason alone, just to kind of have that and stay in the loop with everything. But it's always nice when you have the media, Jake Furr, Kurt Conrad, Nick Michaels, all those guys who do a great job of covering sports in the area. They're always tagging me and stuff. And when they post something and I get to kind of see it right when it's first posted. And so that's definitely probably the best one for me.
Yeah, as I say, your generation, the media is phenomenal. And you look at like how much COVID has taken away. I feel like the streaming of not just somebody's dad taking film, with their phone and they're going live on Facebook, but like all this stuff is being streamed and all the social medias is sharing your stuff. Do you guys realize how awesome that is, or it's just kind of what you grew up with, I guess?
I think before this year and before COVID and everything, it was kind of, it was cool to have like games streamed and on TV and stuff. Like last year when we made our regional run, I think I think I'm pretty sure our last three games in the tournament were on TV, and WMFD covered it, and they did a phenomenal job. And it's one of those things where it's like in a normal world without COVID and everything, when anybody can come, being on TV is cool because because everybody gets to watch. And now this year, I think with COVID, it's just become kind of a normal because not everybody's able to go, and you have so many different streaming options and stuff. It's just kind of a given. But I would say in a normal world, that's one of the coolest things ever is, hearing the commentators and people talking about you on TV and just your team and everything.
How terrible is it not having the student section? You look at some kids don't play football just so they can be in the student section, or don't play basketball just so they can be in the student section. How awful is that that's taken away? Because that's something, the culture of small town, especially in Ohio, high school sports, and that's taken away.
It it's weird. At first with everything, football. Football is kind of, we didn't get student sections at our games for football anyway, just because kind of how many guys we have on the football team and how small of a school we are, that we never really had a student section. But for basketball, you really feel it. The way our gym's set up, we have the bleachers on one side, and then we have the stage across, and then we have the bleachers on the stage, which is where our student section is. And so you can definitely tell when our student section is not there, because those big old bleachers are just empty on the stage, and there's nobody sitting there. And it just, I mean, just it almost feels like there's just a void in the gym. You're not hearing everybody yelling and screaming. And our student section was phenomenal last year. We had a lot of football guys in there that are very, very entertaining. And that was definitely one of the best things about last year, was just having them at every game. And it seemed like the further we went in tournaments and the further away we played, the more people we had at the games and the more kids we had in the student section. And it definitely sucks that we don't have that this year.
Absolutely. All right, Riley, thanks a lot for being on the podcast, man, and best of luck to you in the future.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for listening to another episode of the Bases Loaded podcast. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter @Bases Podcast.